last Saturday I was part of the BookTube Roundtable Neurodiversity live stream, which I will link to down below if you want to check it out. It was such an interesting, thought-provoking conversation that I definitely recommend you check it out, but it's made me think more and more about diversity in books and on BookTube. So this week I thought I would follow up from that live stream with the diversity awareness tag. So I'm not going to talk much about it simply because I'm going to be talking a lot about this during the tag questions, so here are my answers. Question number 1, why does diversity matter to you? Simply because I have Asperger's, dyslexia and dyspraxia. I've also possibly got Ehlers-Danlos syndrome and Raynaud's, I'm not quite sure, and I was also born with congenital hip dysplasia, which basically means I was born with a dislocated leg, which caused a lot of problems throughout my life, which meant I was in and out of hospital for the first few years of my life, and also I've had to go back in and out of hospital quite a lot ever since. Then also I have a lot of family members who are also disabled. I have a tetraplegic uncle, which means he is basically wheelchair bound and can't walk or anything. I've got another uncle who has to walk with a cane because his ankle has been fused after an accident, and my mum has fibromyalgia and a whole load of other conditions, which basically means she's in a lot of pain constantly and is constantly very, very tired, and a whole load of other issues. So when I look at my family, I see a lot of disabled people and a lot of diversity there. But then when I look at books, TV, film and all the rest of it, there's just not that diversity anywhere. You either have just fully able people or people who are seen as quirky and weird without actually stating that they are on the spectrum, despite the fact that they are very clearly on the autistic spectrum or have something like that. My main example for that would be Newt Scamander, because I have spoken about this before, but Newt Scamander is definitely on the autistic spectrum. Eddie Redmayne has said it itself, but it is never confirmed. I hold out hope for the rest of the Fantastic Beasts series where it's actually mentioned, but I'm not holding my breath because I know what J.K. Rowling's like with diversity, and also I just know what it's like with people who are definitely on the autistic spectrum in the media, but it's never actually covered. So I guess what I'm trying to say with this is that I have grown up not seeing people like me or people confirmed to be like me on TV or anybody else in my family. If I'm lucky, I've seen a wheelchair user, but apart from that, I've never really seen anybody in the media, in books, film, TV or anything like that with people with disabilities in, and I just really want that, if not just for me, but for the rest of my family and everybody else who has disabilities but never sees themselves in the media in any form. Question number 2, find a diverse author. V.E. Schwab, because she's LGBTQ+. Question number 3, find a diverse lead character, preferably not written by the author above. And I'm going to say R.J. Anderson's lead character in Ultraviolet, whose name has completely escaped me, but she is neurodiverse in the sense that this main character has synesthesia, and it's such a cool thing the whole way through the book, how she describes how she sees letters and numbers and what colours and what sounds and everything else sort of come out when she reads and sees these letters and numbers, and how she associates sounds and letters and colours with other things that in her world. It's absolutely fascinating, and personally I thought it was really well done. I can't say if it was well done or not though, because I don't have synesthesia, but I did really think it was a really cool thing to have for this character, because synesthesia is something I'd only previously heard from in QI, and apart from that I'd never seen it in anything else ever, so I thought it was a really cool thing to add to the character. Question number 4, find a book with a cast full of diverse characters. American Gods by Neil Gaiman, because this book doesn't just cover American gods, it's just set in America. Instead there are gods from Norse myth, there's also Egyptian gods and a whole load of other cultures, which means you have a lot of POC characters in here. You get mentions of a whole load of other cultures and their religions and stuff. I felt like I learned a lot reading this book about other cultures and what their gods actually mean to them and stuff, and also the characters themselves. There are quite a lot of POC characters and stuff like this, so it was a really great, fun, diverse cast in the sense of other cultures. Could have done better on LGBT+ though, I will say. Question number 5, find a book with a diverse character that is not a stereotype. And I'm going to say Harper's cerebral palsy from A Curse So Dark and Lonely. Now I'm going to link down below to a full discussion video from someone with cerebral palsy who was also part of the live stream actually, so you should definitely go check them out. And they did a full review of this with a lot of explanation as to how the book isn't a stereotype, so I feel like she's more qualified to talk about this than I am, because I don't have cerebral palsy and I have no real, like, experience with cerebral palsy from anyone I know, so I'm going to leave her to talk about it instead because I feel like she's going to know a lot more than me. Question number 6, find a character with whom you identify. Is there any other answer to this apart from Xandri from Failure to Communicate? Because I mention her a lot on this channel, but seriously, Xandri. I have never related to a character like that. I've never related to an autistic character like that in my life. I mean, Xandri was so like me when she comes to reacting to loud, crowded places, because I am like that, definitely. Anytime around Christmas, food shopping or Christmas shopping in general, I like to sort of hide in my bunker of a house from like November through to January because there's so many people about it. It freaks me out. I love how she has difficulty making friends and communicating with other people the exact way she wants to, and how she struggles to make friends, and everything else was just so me. I've never related to a character like that before in my life. Question number 7, find a book with different diversities. I'm going to say for Rai and Alucard here, Rai is either bisexual or pansexual because he's attracted to more than one gender, whereas Alucard is only seen to be in love with Rai, so he could be bisexual or pansexual as well, but it's never actually gone into. Also, I'm pretty sure Alucard is white while Rai is POC. Question number 8, find a book with a disabled mental or physical character. The Christmasaurus by Tom Fletcher has a main character who is a young wheelchair user. He is explained to have been in a car accident when he was a child and is now wheelchair bound, and I love this book because of the amount of research Tom put into it. Also, when he was doing music videos for the book, he also included a main character in the music video who also was a young wheelchair user. And I just really like that representation, like I said, because I have an uncle who is also a wheelchair user, and I've never seen it before in a book. Question number 9, find a book with an LGBTQIA+ character. Bonus points if they end up in a relationship. Jesper and Wyland from Six of Crows have to be on this list because Jesper, if I remember right, is bisexual, whereas Wyland is gay, and they do end up in a relationship together, and we do not have the bury your gays trope, which is just an added bonus here. Question number 10, reflection. How hard was it to find these books? Reasonably difficult. I mean, I do try to read diverse books, but that was actually quite difficult considering, because I thought I had a lot more diverse books than I actually do, especially on the author front. I've definitely got to do better on getting more diverse authors on my shelves. But in terms of POC characters, disabled characters and LGBTQ+ characters, it wasn't as difficult. But at the same time, I wish I'd had more answers apart from the really, really popular books here, because I feel like there's a couple of books that do have quite good diverse casts in them, but then they're really popular and there's nothing else apart from these really popular books. So I wish there was more to choose from here, but at the same time I'm reasonably glad that it was reasonably easy to find these, but I do wish I had more choice. And that is the end of the tag, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up, comment down below your diverse book recs and author recs. I'd love to get some more because, like I said, I don't have that many. I'll also leave a link down below to all my social media if you want to check out. If you want to see any more of my videos, please click subscribe here and over here with the link to my previous video. But until next time, guys, bye!